Alright, so here we are Monday afternoon. It's like 3:15. I haven't had time to do much recording at all. It's just been so busy. And, you know, Monday, and now it's the 20th right here before Christmas. And it's weird because a lot of the stores usually wait until after the holiday and after the returns, and then they'll start letting people off. It just seems like the numbers are so far off this year, and it's been slow for everybody. A lot of the stores that they're laying their employees off now, and just a big influx of rekeys already, which is odd. Anyway, before I go any further, I wanted to give a shout out to a friend of mine, Andy. He's over in the UK. He does pretty much what I do, filming on the road, filming his jobs, stuff like that. And it's interesting to see the locks over there in the UK and the different doors, you know, a lot of UPVC stuff. I'll put a link to his channel here. It's Lockswood Ltd, LOCKSWOOD Ltd. I'll put the link below, and you guys can go over and check out his channel, subscribe to him. He's trying to get going. It's interesting, you know, the different types of locks and stuff that you can see, and you know how their doors work, you know, compared to ours. Their security is a lot better than most of our stuff over here in the States. But anyway, yeah, get over there, check Andy out. He's got a cool little thing going too. And yeah, I'm gonna roll a couple of days into one here, just because I haven't had time to film anything. Like, I'm going to put a deadbolt in an apartment that just got broken into. The guy came home for lunch and found his apartment door was kicked in or broken into, whatever, so he wants a deadbolt on it. So I'm going to stop over there and take care of that. Then I got to go do a mailbox, you know, just some small miscellaneous stuff. And I got to make a couple of pit stops in between to drop some keys off to places. But yeah, we're going to roll this into a couple of days, I think, here this week, just because it seems like it's going to get crazy. Alright, so I just pulled into this apartment building. It's just broken up into a bunch of little efficiency apartments in here. I got to throw a deadbolt in. I don't know if I can record, but we'll play it by ear. Alright, so we took care of the old guy there, handicapped, living on the top floor in that building. He's got to literally go up the steps on his butt. But I put a deadbolt in for him. I gave him a few bucks off since he was 77 years old. But anyway, I have to run to Woodridge, drop some stuff off at the police department, and then we got to do a mailbox there in Woodridge, and I'll be back with you here in a little bit. I just took before and after pictures of his apartment. I didn't want to film in his apartment. We're literally like right on top of one another there in one room. Alright, so I just dropped those keys off at the police department. I am headed to Davos. It's an old ski resort that closed up, but they still have all the houses there. And I will be back here with you shortly. Alright, so I just pulled up to this bank of mailboxes. I think I'm just going to Lishi pick it open and throw a new cylinder in there for them, because they have no idea where they lost their keys. And I'll be back with you. Alright, so we took care of the mailbox there. There was no cylinder in it at all, so I had to make a tailpiece for it. No big deal, but anyway, I'm done there, and I'm going to stop in town here and make some phone calls. I got a bunch of calls coming in right now. Alright, so I just ran and threw a couple of Medico deadbolts in for a guy. He had him in his house in the city, and he's up here for, you know, with Christmas coming this week. He wanted these things put in, and I don't know, it's just old used Medico deadbolts, old school stuff. Anyway, I got them put in for him. I just took a picture of the one that I put in there. Anyway, I'm headed home. I'll be back with you guys probably over the next couple of days. I'll do some filming here and there because a lot of people are around this time of the year. Alright, so I got a bunch of stuff out of the way this morning. I just no time to film, man. It's been crazy busy right here before Christmas. Usually it quiets down a little bit, but it's been nuts. I I just left a restaurant in Ulster County. I smell like a greasy French fry. It's disgusting. But I do have to go to the town of Fallsburg. I have to do some work here at the building department. I have to shoot the Monticello. I have to meet a guy to cut him a couple of extra transit keys. And I have 2 Altimas in Orange County, and then I have to shoot to Port Jervis. I have an Acura that I have to do over there, and I'll be back with you guys here shortly. Alright, so that's taken care of there at the building department. I don't want to film there. And we are on to the transit in Monticello. I just got to give this guy a call. Alright, so I called the guy with the Ford Transit who needed a couple of extra keys. He was supposed to be there until 2 o'clock. He wasn't around. He's on the other side of the county. I'm not going to chase him for keys. Anyway, I'm on my way to Orange County. We are going to do the 2 Altimas, and then I have to shoot over to Port Jervis. I have to do an Acura MDX over there. Just to give you guys a little bit of perspective on New York State, like if you look off in the distance, it looks like just straight up mountains, which it is. And right here, we're only literally 75 miles out of Manhattan. Just to give you guys an idea. I mean, most people think of New York State, they think of this big, you know, concrete jungle. It's not really like that. The majority of New York is just, it's all spread out, rural area for the most part. I mean, in the heart of the city, it's crazy down there. Alright, so we're just pulling in on these 2 Altimas. We're going to add an extra key to each one, and I will be right back with you. Alright, so we're in the 16 Altima. They have a key. We're adding an extra. 4 ways are on. We're going to choose Nissan with the ProPad. Agree. Go right to program keys. Smart key. 20 pin code. Type 1. Hazards are on. Yes. Press the start button until the ignition switch turns on. Okay. Do not press the brake. You always got to remember that. Switch ignition off. Okay, now we're going to press this button. Let it blink. We go back to the original. Tap it. Ignition is on. Turn it off. It's good. And that one is good. Mobilizer light is off, yes. We switch the ignition off. Okay, so I'm going to take this key and put it on the roof. We can kill those 4 ways. Step on the brake. Start it with that one. It says key registration complete, but we're going to do it with this also. That's the original. This is the extra. And done with that one, and we are moving on to the one right there. All right, so this is the next one. This is a 13. What I always do with these cars is make sure that the remote start works before you even start. It's good. Okay. All right, so we are in a 13 Altima. I am adding, this key works, this key doesn't. I'm adding a brand new OEM in this. First thing I'm going to do is put the 4-ways on. Nissan. Agree. Go right to program keys. Select from type. Smart key system. 20 pin code. Type 1. Program smart keys. Ignition is off and hazards are on. Yes. Alright, so both keys are done on this. He came out in the middle of it to talk to me. I have to check that Infinity over there needs a key for it. But you can lock this. I always double check these. Remote start. New OEM is good, and I'm going to shut it down with this remote. And that way you make sure both remote starts work. Alright, so we're going to check this G25X. I guess it's a flood car, supposedly. We're going to see. I'm going to see how bad it is before I plug into it. Alright, so this is a 12 Infinity. It's a flood car, but it didn't come up on the carpet. He gave me a key. So I chose Nissan. I'm going to agree. It's beeping. Let me just see. Steering lock release. Ignition is off. 4-ways are on. It's probably gonna. Oh, no, it worked. Program keys. Select from type. Smart key system. 4 pin code. And pop this key. That slot doesn't feel so good down there. Type 2. Switch ignition on. Ignition's on. Security is out. Okay. Program keys. Yes. Security's not blinking. Staying on. I don't think this key he gave me is any good. No. See what he wants to do here. Alright, so I had an old key. Got rid of that Nissan. And we plugged this in. Tap this. Security is out now. Before I couldn't get it to go out with that other key that he gave me because it was a 433 megahertz key. Yeah. This will work, but my booster pack is really dead. Yeah, my booster pack's dead. Let me grab me a booster pack. Alright, so with a good booster pack, this car is now running. Alright, so yeah, he gave me a 433 megahertz key for that. It wasn't even correct, but once I got the right key, and my booster pack's dead. But once we got everything hooked up on there, it was fine, started right up, and the car actually runs fantastic, 28,000 miles on it. Whenever you plug in these things, you always got to be careful, because if you plug in, you can smoke a programmer. I haven't done it yet, thank God, because I always check just to make sure the water didn't come up too high in the car. But anyway, we're getting out of here. We're headed to Port Jervis to go do that Acura. Alright, so I had him. He was there standing next to me the whole time. That's what I came up with a Lishi read, and that's what I came up with for a code. I'm going to try this first. Alright, so I did chuck this key up first because it's a pain in the neck one-handed. You can choose vehicles. Acura. It's an MDX. It's 1 to 6. And the code was 6990. Next, tells us to truck the key. I already did that, but we are going to pull the shoulder stop out, hit cut, and let it do its thing. Yes, we removed that. Alright, so as you can see, it's not in the best shape. The key does work. And the door. Let's try this ignition. Yes. Beautiful. Let me cut a transponder and we will program it. Alright, I'm giving him this key and that key in there because it is Christmas time and they got a little kid, so I'm going to give him a free key. Almost done, man. I'll be done in a second here. Hopefully. You know how that goes. If I turn the key off, it would help. Okay, no problem. Key. 2 all keys lost because they don't know where they are, and they're actually in an apartment complex here. Choose 2 keys. Okay. We're gonna turn off the ignition. Turn it on. Next key, gotta swap these out. Mobilizer lights right there. Yes, it's out. Turn off the ignition. Turn on the ignition. Complete. Okay, let me just unplug. And put the first key down there. It's an exhaust. It's a back window. Swap these out. This key. Glad I gave him the extra key. Alright, this car is done and we are getting out of here. Alright, so we took care of the Acura MDX for her. Made her an extra key. Him and the husband and the wife there, they were tickled pink. I gave him an extra key. She's like, oh, you weren't the cheapest, but I've done 3 different cars for them now. And she's like, you always do a good job and everything works perfect. We never have any issues, so that's why I didn't mind paying the extra money. So I gave her the extra key. So really, you know, it is the holidays and I don't mind helping people out a little bit, you know, the less fortunate. Living in an apartment, you know, with a baby, and, you know, it is what it is. I really don't mind helping people like that, you know, that, like, honestly need it. You know, she was at work all day and she met me. But yeah, I am it's 4:40 right now. I am headed home. I appreciate you guys watching, and don't forget that thumbs up. I did put a couple of days into one here just because I haven't been able to film very much. Everything has just been you know, either there's somebody on top of me, or I'm just so busy, like I don't even want to. It's just one less thing to think about. But anyway, I appreciate you guys, and I'll Catch you guys again tomorrow. Take care.